Yo guys, it's Mighty, and in this video I want to talk about the nicest unreleased speed pad that I've tried so far. This is the Errennir Gecko, and it is a very nice quality pad that I've been spending the last week on. If you guys are enjoying my videos, please subscribe. Only 95.6% of you guys are actually subscribed, so if you guys do subscribe, it'd mean the world to me. Also, Errennir did send this pad out to me for review, but all my thoughts and opinions are my own, and they have no influence over that. This pad is 500 by 500 by 3.5 millimeters thick, and it does have a sort of mid base. However, I wouldn't say it's quite artisan mid. I'd say it's pretty close to that, but it's not as firm. This pad is also pretty fast. It's not as fast as something like a Aydan or a LiDAR, which I will be comparing both those pads to this pad later in the video, but it is still pretty fast in general. The static friction on this pad is pretty high. It does take a little bit of effort to start to get the mouse to move, but once the mouse is in motion, there's very little stopping it, and the overall dynamic friction is pretty low. This pad is quote unquote meant for TAC FPS players, people that play Valorant, or at least that's what the company says, but I do feel like that's not really what this pad's meant for. I'd say it's more meant for the tracking focused players, the people that play Apex, COD, Overwatch, games like that. Another big thing about this base that the company has improved a lot is what they call the sandwich firm silicone base. This base is the same base that NPET uses on their resin pads, and is very sticky. It sticks very well to my desk and doesn't move on my desk at all. You also have to peel this pad off your desk once you do want to use it, so that just shows how sticky the pad is. Coming over to the logo on the right corner of the pad, it is raised off the surface a little bit, so if you do run your skates over the pad, you can definitely feel it. But that shouldn't really be a problem. The stitch edges are really nice. I do think that they're maybe a little bit below the surface, or if not on surface level, but they don't catch at all, and since this pad is so big, I can push it very close to the edge of my desk, and I have no problem with my arm running over the edge of the pad at all. It doesn't catch whatsoever. When I did try to stress test the edge of the pad a little bit, as you can see some of the fraying over here, and when I did run my finger over the edge of the pad pretty hard, there was very little fraying, so I don't think as a user you experience much fraying in normal day-to-day use, and it shouldn't be a problem at all. The stitching is pretty tight, and it doesn't really move when you do move your arm or hand over it, so I do say the stitching is very good. It's also very narrow, so the stitching is also very narrow, so that's an extra plus on that side. When I do use larger skates, even skates like Jade Donuts, or even larger skates like these Jade Viper Mini SE skates, I do feel like there is a good amount of dynamic and static friction. When I do use dot skates like this, I do feel like there's less dynamic and static friction, and it is an overall faster experience. I think that could be that the pad is very slightly textured. It's not as textured or as harshly textured as something like an Aqua Control Plus, but it is still lightly textured. The texturing is very soft, so nothing really catches on it. Both sleeves and my arm glides pretty nicely over this pad. Even when I'm pretty sweaty, my hand doesn't really get stuck to this pad, though I never really used this pad without a sleeve, since I do enjoy using sleeves a lot. This pad does deal with moisture very well. The first pad I'll be comparing the Gecko to is the Artisan Aydan Mid. I'm using this pad as a comparison just for speed and to show the overall dynamic and static friction. It is pretty obvious that the Aydan has far less dynamic friction than the Gecko does, as well as the Aydan being slightly smoother and not as textured as the Gecko is. Both of these do have very light texturing, both the textures are very soft, but I do feel like the Aydan has a little bit less texture than the Gecko does. The next and last pad I'll be comparing the Gecko to is the GameSense LiDAR. I want to use this pad just to demonstrate what I think the Gecko should be priced at, as well as the overall quality. If you didn't know, the Gamson's LiDAR right now is $25 on their website. Normally it's $35. I do think it's a very good deal for a 500 by 500 pad that is also relatively firm. I do think that both these surfaces are very, very similar. However, the LiDAR is smoother than the Gecko is and has overall a little bit of a faster glide than the Gecko. One big difference is that the LiDAR has a regular rubber base, while the Gecko does have its silicone base. Because of this, I do think the Gecko should be priced at around $35. I think it'd be a very, very good deal for this mousepad, and I do think it competes pretty closely between this pad and the Speed V2, which I haven't got yet from Infinity Mice. Thank you guys so much for watching my review on the Errennir Gecko. If you do want to check out this pad, they haven't released it yet, but I will link their Twitter down in the description below. So do check that out, give them a follow, and just show overall excitement and enjoyment for this mousepad, and they will release it pretty soon. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, peace.